Hi there and welcome. I'm Rabbi Nachum with the Las Vegas Kollel. By the late 1800s, New England had become the home of textile manufacturing in the United States. The raw cotton was grown and produced in the South, but it would then be shipped up the coast to New England where it would be manufactured. Textile mills were sprouting all over New England where they would turn that raw cotton into fabric, and it would then be exported, and it was a booming industry. However, by the 1930s or so, that industry began to decline. Other regions in the country, because of different technology, innovations, transportation, other regions in the country began competing with the New England textile mills, and New England's textile industry began to decline. So it was a real surprise when in the 1960s there was a young up-and-coming investor who invested a lot of money into one New England textile mill company in New England. The question is, why was this fellow, he was a young up-and-coming investor trying to make a name for himself, why would he put so much of his capital into a declining industry? New England textile mills were closing one after another. Businesses were on the decline. They were losing money year after year. Why would this shrewd, keen, young investor, why would he put so much money into what seemed to be a declining industry? We read in Sefer Bereshis, the book of Genesis, we read about Avraham Avinu. Abraham, he's the father of the Jewish people. And it's interesting. Abraham is called Avraham HaIvri, Abraham the Hebrew. And it's an interesting question. What does the word Hebrew mean? Where does it come from? What are the connotations? We notice how you say Hebrew in Hebrew is ivrit, ivri. But what does that word mean? What are the connotations? What's the background? And the Medrash says a remarkable thing. Gives a couple of ideas. Its first answer is that Avraham was me'ever hanahar. Avraham, when he was living in the land of Canaan, well, he had come from the other side of the river. You see, Abraham was originally from Mesopotamia, and he had come from the other side of the river, and he was now living in the land of Canaan. So it's a way of designating and identifying Avraham as being, he was from a different place. He was a foreigner. He was from the other side of the river. But the Medrash offers a second idea, perhaps a deeper idea on what the word Ivri, that Avram was from the other side, what that meant. Medrash explains that Avram came ideologically from the other side. His values were from the other side of the world. As if to say, the Medrash explains, Kol ha'olam kula me'ever echad ve'Avram me'ever echad. The whole world, ideologically, in terms of their values and beliefs, they're on one side, and Abraham, he was on the other. You see, Abraham grew up in a world of tyranny, a world of idolatry, a world of paganism, a world of corruption, an evil world. And Abraham, he proclaimed monotheism. He proclaimed that there's an idea of morality, of justice, of goodness, of kindness. But he was an outsider. He was on the other side. He was in the minority. The whole world was living in a crazy, crazy set of values and beliefs and behaviors, and Avraham didn't follow them. He was on the other side. He proclaimed the concept of decency, goodness, kindness, monotheism. And that's why he's called Avraham HaIvri. He's on the other side. He was an outsider in terms of his beliefs, his values, and his behaviors. And it's such a fundamental idea. We want to know what it means to be Jewish. We talk about being a Hebrew, Ivrit. Part of the makeup of our very essence of being Jewish is to recognize we do what's right. We follow the Torah. We believe in our values. We believe in justice. We believe in morality. Even if those things aren't popular, even if the whole world is going one way, we stand for what we believe in. And we believe in honesty, decency, morality, monotheism, the Torah, justice, and all of those qualities, even if everyone is going the other direction. It takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage, a lot of fortitude to recognize when something has value, when something has meaning, when something is emes, when something is true, it oftentimes goes against the grain of what everyone else believes. Oftentimes everyone is going one way, but the truth is in the other direction. And sometimes we do need to swim upstream. We need to go against the current because that's where the truth is. That's where the actual value really is. That young investor in the 1960s, he had followed the investing theories of a fellow named Ben Graham, who had this theory that he called the cigar butt theory of investing. He said oftentimes someone will be smoking a cigar, and they get to the way end of the cigar, and then they throw the cigar butt away. They discard it. But in truth, there's still a little bit of cigar left to be smoked. There are still a few drags that a person could pull out of that cigar. But because it's been discounted, because it's been discarded, no one's interested in it. But the shrewd, wise investor will recognize I can get those cigar butts, those discarded cigar butts, at a real premium. I can find them at a real discount, and I can find some real value there despite the fact that everyone's discarding them. You just have to look really closely and really try to analyze that there is indeed value there despite the fact that everyone is going in the other direction. And this young investor, he saw this textile mill, which was actually a company that was merged from two mills. One was called the Berkshire Textile Mills, and one was called the Hathaway Textile Mills. And this young investor, indeed, was Warren Buffett. And he recognized that Berkshire Hathaway, despite the fact that it's losing money year over year, despite the fact that the New England textile industry is on the decline, he recognized if you just did the math, if you just dug a little deep, you would see that its stock point, how much Berkshire Hathaway was actually being sold for, was significantly less than the actual assets that Berkshire Hathaway actually owned. So despite the fact that it wasn't earning money, if you would buy the company, you would walk away making a ton of money. But people weren't recognizing that. People were overlooking that because they just saw the industry on decline and people were going the other direction. But Buffett recognized if you just dig deep enough, you will realize there was tremendous value there. And he invested in Berkshire Hathaway, and the rest is history. We all have to appreciate and recognize MS, truth, that which is correct. Oftentimes, the world doesn't recognize. The world might be pursuing shiny things, loud things, sparkly things. That's fine. But truth, MS, Torah, that which is correct, that which is just, that which is moral, that which is correct, sometimes the world is going one way, and we have to go me'ever echad. We have to go like Avram Avinu. We have to go in the other direction. Value, as Warren Buffett discovered, oftentimes can be found in things that are discarded, in things that people aren't actually following. That doesn't mean that there isn't value there, and doesn't mean that there isn't truth there. We always say Facebook is a very bad metric for likes on Facebook specifically. How many times people like something, that's a very poor metric for how honest or how true something might be. Terrible ideas, all sorts of morally corrupt and bankrupt ideas might be very popular. And the hallmarks and definitions of Judaism is me'ever echad. We have to be set aside. We've got to follow that which is right, even if the entire world is going me'ever echad, even if the entire world is going in a different direction.